Everyone, and as promised, we have for you a armour subject. I've chosen to do the ASLAV 25 Reconnaissance Vehicle Phase 3 from Trumpeter in 1/35 scale. So we're going to have a kit review, and we'll have a build review, and we'll show you a completed model at the end of this. Well, what do you need to know about this? Well, this is a vehicle that's been around for some time now. And the Phase 3 variant was an upgrade done for the, I believe it was only for the Australian Army. Refits were done. If I understand correctly, they're actually looking to replace this vehicle now. It served its life, went to Iraq, went to Afghanistan, went to a few different places, but they're looking to upgrade to a different platform now, I believe. So we might see the end of these. I've been lucky enough to go to the School of Armour in Victoria, Melbourne, and have a good look over one of these in real life. So I've got a good comparison for you, or good base to judge this kit, which is quite lucky. I was very lucky to do that. Right, so what do you get? Well, first thing you see straight off the bat are your two hull sections. Hull sections are really nicely made. You're going to hear me say that a lot during this video. I was really impressed with the quality of this kit. It was really good. Excuse me. Hull sections, really nicely made, go together really well. There's a tiny bit of flash, a little bit here and there that you need to clean up on these, but very, very minor. You can see a couple of marks from where they've taken them from the molds, but very, very minor. It'll only take you seconds to fix. Goes together really well. There's next to no seam when the parts are joined properly. Excellent. Very, very good. And lovely detail. Next part stands out. This is probably sort of the contentious part, I'd say, with some modelers. It's just these sort of soft rubbery tyres. Some people prefer the harder plastic ones, which you can get them as aftermarket with a bit of sag in them as well. So they're not too bad. I actually really liked them. I thought they were really good. You've got plenty in there to play around with. I loved it. I actually, because I bought a couple of kits, I used one for a bit of detailing from another kit on a base, but I'll get to that in a little while. But yeah, no, lovely little pieces. I quite like them. The detail on them is really good. Nice and fine. That's it, camera. Beautiful work. Alright, so there you go. But yeah, no, I thought they were really well done. Everything else is individually bagged, which is good. So if any loose parts or any parts come off the sprue and are loose, you're not going to lose them. They'll stay in their little bags. I love it when manufacturers just go to that little bit of extra detail. Nothing more annoying than when you get a kit and there are parts loose in the box and you're sort of worrying, oh, well, have I lost something? Detailing of these, beautifully done. Really, really nice. I'd say the one thing that I found a little bit tricky is suspension and then running gear underneath the vehicle. It's quite fragile, so you just got to be really careful with that when you're putting it together. Make sure you cut it out very, very gently and position it very, very carefully. And then, of course, you've got the wheels and everything that goes on, the hubs and everything goes on the end of those. Just tricky, just fiddly stuff. Just be careful with it when you're doing it. Other than that, very, very little flash. No real cleanup required. They were really nicely done. I warned you, you're going to hear me say that a lot. So you hear me sing the praises of the kit. And just in case you're wondering, no, I'm not affiliated with Trumpeter. But yeah, no. So, lovely done. Some clear parts for the lights and the lenses and everything like that. Very, very easily put together. I left them off till the end, and we'll cover that in a minute. But and then you got the railings, everything like that around the turret, the back of the hull, right there, where the doors go on. Top doors, hatches, tools, everything. It's all there. Jerry cans, etc., etc., etc. Turret was one of my favourite features in this vehicle. It was really cool. I like it. It's a fairly interesting vehicle in real life, and the model kit of it did it justice. It was really well done. So you got those there. show you that. Okay, let's have a look at the instructions. Or before we do that, sorry, forgive me. Okay, photo etch. Alright, so you've got photo etch parts. These are the baskets and everything that go around the turret. And then you've got some little wire chains here, and these are for the grenade launchers, like smoke launchers either side of the turret as well. Lovely detail on them. Couldn't fault them. Could not fault them. They were really good. Once again, you got engine grills. You got a few bits for around the periscopes for the drivers and everything like that. The one thing which I thought was a little bit off scale about this kit is these little parts here. Now they're done in photo etch. They're actually up under the hull of the vehicle, and I'll get the hull out so I can show you where they go. Alright, so they go pretty much up under here, and we'll show you in the completed model. But I think they just seem a little bit thin to me in the photo etch. I think they probably should have been moulded in plastic a little bit thicker. Would have been nice, but they still look the part when they're on the kit. That's the only thing I could really say, oh well, it might be a little bit different. No, for those of you that are looking at, I think Mouse House does add-on features, things like that, like for your bar armor, whatnot. Well, yeah, this hasn't got your bar armor, but other than that, you know, it's accurate. And a lot of the vehicles that they still use, don't have the bar armor. So a lot of the vehicles, school armor, don't have it. They don't need it. So if you're trying to just do a replica of something that you see at something like Avalon Air Show or something like that, then you don't need it. It's this is very accurate. No, so you got all the parts there. Love it. Great kit. Thoroughly enjoyed building it. I normally sort of cringe a little bit when it comes to photo etch because it's just sort of, oh, well, yeah. It's just me. I just seem to have trouble with it. But no, it was good. Worked really well. And you can see the instructions there as we're talking about with the underside. You know, this is the fiddliest part of the kit. So just take your time with it. Be careful. You know, slow down. Make sure you're getting everything right, because it is really touchy. We've got that, you know, more there. You see how the wheels go together there. Very simple. Moving on. Alright, you start to get little bits of railing, and those are those photo etch parts we're talking about there. So you can see them just attached in there. They're just, I just, you know, would have liked them a little bit thicker. But other than that, that's fine. Right, top of the vehicle. Go a little bit quickly so you can feel free to pause it and have a good look. But yeah, top of the vehicle, you see the hatches and everything on top there. No, nice and easy, all your external stowage. Moving on, so there's quite a fair bit to go on in this kit. I actually made mine with a young modeller named Lucas, and Lucas hadn't built very many models, and I thought this is probably not the easiest of introduction to modelling for him. I don't think it would be beyond his skill, but I thought, yeah, it's not the easiest introduction for someone who's just started out, and he completed his before mine, and it looked absolutely fantastic. He loved it. So I'd say even those with, you know, small amount of experience, even though it might look a little bit daunting, it's, you know, it's quite easy to do. Especially they've got someone there just to ask a quick question of. You can see all that join there. Keep going. There's your turret. No, very simple. So there's lots of fiddly little bits, but it comes together quite easily. It's quite good. Obviously, use your super glue, not your model glue, for your photo etch if you can. The super glue will stick it down. The model glue really doesn't bond it. And then you complete an article. All right. Now you notice on here too, we'll go on to the markings, but you notice on this sheet here, so get that there. So this is your Decals sheet. And I haven't opened it. I'm just trying to keep it protected because it's going to be a little while before I build this new one. But you can see there you got Bull Rider and Adrenaline Rush and everything like that. They tend to name the vehicles, which I think is pretty cool. You also see in white lettering, I don't know if you can just make it out there, it says 11C. And basically when the vehicles were in Afghanistan, and I'm pretty certain they probably did it in Iraq anyway, they seem to have numbered them. I'm not sure what the purpose was, and I meant to ask when I was at School of Armour. I completely forgot, so that's totally my bad. But they seem to put a number on the grill, and they just roughly painted it on. Now, a lot of them wear off pretty quickly or not really done all that well. So I actually chose not to use that decal on my kit, and I'll show you what I did there. But if you look at it and go, well, that looks rough, well, that's why they tend to wear off pretty quick, and they were sort of haphazardly done in the field. You see little kangaroos, left-hand drive, blah, 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 Australian flag, and all your little bits and pieces on the side. Now, these decals were actually really, really good. Basically, went down, no issues whatsoever. Loved it. Couldn't fault them. Didn't deteriorate or anything like that in the water. They were fantastic. Markings. All right, so you got your adrenaline rush, as you see on the top there, 11C. Pointed out before. If you find resources online, or if you can go, I think Fine Scale Model, I had a article on vehicles in Afghanistan, Australian vehicles in Afghanistan, and they showed a few photos. I mean, you could see exactly what I'm talking about there, but you should be able to find stuff online about it. I'm going to post some of the pictures I took onto my Deviantart page, and I'll put a link on that at the bottom. So if you're curious of that, you can have a look. Colours, pretty much your standard stuff, nothing really fancy about it. It's just this sort of Aussie tricolour scheme. Yeah, it's sort of a hard edge to the painting. I basically just used blue tack around mine to give me that sort of hard edge and sort of soft in places. Pretty easy, but I've rambled on enough about that now, so let's actually show you the kit that I completed. It's took me a little while, and there was a bit of scratch building involved, and nothing to do with the model, all to do with the base, because I really wanted to go all out. Those of you that are overseas, if you sort of have a look, they're not based in Australia, if you sort of have a look at some of the photos, there are areas of Australia where we've got sort of lots of ferns and things like that, and I really wanted to try and replicate that as best I could with my model kit, and I might have gone a little bit overboard with the green, but I think I didn't do too bad a job. Now, these leaves and the plants and everything like that were, I believe they're called Kamzuri. It's a Japanese paper company, or Japanese company which makes little paper leaves and plants and things, flowers, all sorts of stuff for dioramas. Very easy to use. If you've got an airbrush, just leave them on the sheet, give them a quick spray. As I said, mine are probably a little bit too bright. And with the light I've got in here, you can't really see the depth on the leaf. So they tend to dark, like I've darkened it up on the base and tried to keep it lighter on the new growth, that sort of thing. But we're just going to put the model aside for 2 seconds just so I can tell you how chuffed I am about my base. So you have a look there. There's a few scratch built twigs and things like that, and the road, like the whole base, is just out of plaster. Basically carved sort of a gutter, just a rough dirt gutter out of the side there with a few channels in it. Now that's pretty common if you go to a lot of rural areas. You tend to find the roads that aren't heavily used, if they're not just gravel or dirt, they will just lay down a quick thing of asphalt bitumen over the top, and they don't really worry about putting the gutters in and things like that. And so I'm sure all of us in Australia at least have seen roads like that out in the rural areas. That's really what I was trying to replicate. You know, a bit of growth on it just to sort of show that it's not commonly used, and that's just done with a paintbrush. Just cut the bristles off and sort of stick them in. All of that was really done with just the paper, a bit of PVA, so like a white wood glue, and the sticks for the little ferns I did out of just stretched pieces of sprue. Really easy. That one I actually used a straw as the base, curled up pieces of paper, sprayed them brown. Anyone in Victoria sort of gone up to Dandenong Ranges, you'd probably sort of guess at what I'm trying to accomplish there. But yeah, it's not too bad. It was not a bad attempt, I don't think. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was great, and it was a great way to top off what I think was a lovely build. So let's have a look at the model. All right, so did the tricolour scheme as shown in the colour guide, and I decided to go with the Adrenaline Rush on the side of the vehicle there. Now you will see, if I can just zoom in a little bit, you will see with the sides here see how it's sort of, I've tried to fade it down. Now that was a technique that I read, I've seen people online use it, but I also read it in a modelling magazine, just with a bit of dust from Tamiya. I think they call it Tamiya dust. Buff is what I'm thinking of, Tamiya buff. And it's sort of like a very, very light tanny beige colour. And I'm just going through my paints here trying to find it for you. Give me 2 seconds, there it is. Alright, so XF57 Tamiya buff. Alright, so just thin that down with a bit of the Tamiya thinners and just lightly airbrush it across the surface, and that sort of gives you that dusty effect, which is what I really wanted with the Aussie vehicles. You know, they pick up a lot of dust, especially around the training grounds in Victoria. In the summer, it is just a dust ball. So wanted that on the wheels, everything like that, and you sort of see the darker areas on the wheels. Really just rubbed it back a little bit with a soft brush, with a hard bristle brush. No thinners or anything like that. Just give it just a rub on the raised areas, because if they get worn, they get knocked, everything like that. So it's not going to be a completely flat dust covering, really. And you can see that in a lot of the vehicles that you'll see online. So I just really wanted to try and make them pop a little bit. And I think that worked well. You can see some of the pigments that I've used up underneath there, some of the dust pigments, things like that, just to give it a bit of texture. Didn't want to go too heavy with it, and just painted that in the dust as well. Just back out a little bit. Sorry, I love this model. I think I don't do many armour subjects, and this is certainly one of my favourites. So I'm going to just keep talking and annoy the crap out of you all. All right, so going to the main hull. You can see the 11C there. All right. So I, just roughly brushed that on. Wanted a bit heavier in spots, a bit lighter in other spots. It's an uneven surface anyway, so getting the decals here is just going to be a pain in the backside. It's not going to work as far as I can see. I'm sure there's some modelers out there that go, well, I can do it. Well, I'd rather not have the headache, to be honest. So it was just easier to sort of brush it. One thing I haven't really done is I haven't painted the optics in there yet. There's a colour which I saw online, which I've got to order. I can't get it anywhere here, which really makes it look reflective and pops like the coating that they put on the optics that you see on armoured vehicles these days. So I haven't done those yet. I'm gonna paint them up. That's really one of the few things I've left to do. The exhaust. So you see on the exhaust side, I think the US versions have a longer exhaust system on them, if memory serves. They tend to be a bit quieter. The Aussie ones are quite loud, make a fair bit of noise, fair bit of ruckus. Yeah, so we've got this tiny little exhaust, and you can just sort of see I've painted over the decals there. Now, as I was saying before, the decals perform really well. You may have noticed there is the tiniest bit of silvering on the Adrenaline Rush there. Okay, now that was not the decal, that was me. I mucked that up. I just sort of went a bit quick and didn't give it time to sort of dry properly before I sealed it in with a flat coat, and that was my bad. Just try to replicate some scratches, things in the vehicle, because they're up bush. They run through the bush. They do recovery exercises, and they do all sorts of stuff with these vehicles. You can see the decals though, how fine they are, like a smoke grenade. Written on the side there. You get all sorts of stuff. I really put those in too far, the chains on those. I sort of need to hang them down a little bit more than what they are, but that's easily fixed. So I'll zoom out, and you can sort of see the same dust effects on this side, a little bit of pigments down there. I had no issues putting this together. It was a dream to fit together. It really was. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I haven't built many Trumpeter models before, but this one was just so easy. A little bit fiddly, but it just all went together so well. And you can see there, you got the refueler there. You could probably use a bit of stains and oil it up a bit, and have a bit of fun. Put some washers on there to make it look a bit dirty and grimy. And then you got the back of the vehicle there. We'll just try and turn that, give you a bit more light. Alright, so really thoroughly enjoyed it. And we'll just go to the underside as well. So I'll just zoom back out for a second, guys and girls. kids of all ages. All right, so let's go to the other side here. Now, see those tie downs? So there, and then there's 2 at the front there. Those are really the only things, as I was saying. I just thought they were a little bit thin for scale. But everything else, no, I thought it was perfect. Loved it. Loved it. All right. So, my model cost me $40. $40 each. I bought, how many did I buy? 1, 2, 3, I think I bought 4 at the same time. And I've got 1 left. So, love it. They're a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to building the next one. Really am. All right. Any questions, by all means, shoot me a message. Happy to answer any questions you've got. Someone had said, it would be good to do some tutorials soon. I certainly want to do that, and they are in the pipeline. I've just got to get a proper mount for my little camera here to do that, and it just takes time, unfortunately, at the moment. But I want to keep some models coming, so whilst I'm waiting for that done, I want to keep showing you stuff to keep you interested and keep going. Any questions, let me know. I'm going to stick some photos up on the Deviantart page, and I'll put a link at the bottom here. Don't let the name fool you. It's actually not too bad a site. But yeah, you can click on there, and I'll have galleries. Now, I'll have other armoured photos. I've got aviation photos. I've got other models that I've done, sci-fi stuff, you name it. It's everything that I'm doing. I'm trying to upload some stuff onto there. I'll have some photos of this kit. The vehicle in the kit, the model that I've done, and I'll have some photos of some of the vehicles from Puckapunyal as well. All right, so I've checked. I'm allowed to post those on there, so we'll put some of them on there, and away we go. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for everyone who's liking and subscribing. It means a huge amount to me, and we'll speak to you soon.